morning. You're watching Business World Live. I'm Dani Laurel.
And I'm Jess De Los Santos. Here are the biggest stories to kickstart this trading day, Thursday. International think tank Capital Economics says the near-term outlook for the domestic economy continues to improve. However, it says recovery remains vulnerable due to issues on the global front.
The Bangko Sentral expects inflation to have reached the target in March following the successive rounds of oil price hikes.
Remote work arrangements for PEZA-registered IT-BPO firms expire today.
And San Miguel-owned Bank of Commerce debuts on the local bourse today. We begin our broadcast with a rosier outlook for the domestic economy.
International think tank Capital Economics says the near-term forecast for the Philippines is improving. Now that's on the back of the continuous drop in COVID-19 cases with less than 500 infections reported daily. Capital Economics also says people's movements are now above pre-pandemic level for the first time. However, the think tank warns of risks, including the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Philippine Star reports. Capital Economics notes the Philippines' consumption-led economy is vulnerable to the global surge in commodity prices due to the war in Eastern Europe. The Bangko Sentral expects March inflation to breach the target. BSP Governor Ben Jokno projects the consumer price index to rise between 3.3 and 4.1% in March. That's on the back of higher prices of oil, power, and meat. The central bank's inflation target for 2022 is set at 2 to 4%, while the projection for March is at 3.7%. The BSP says weakness of the peso is also a factor in this month's inflation. First Metro and UANP capital markets also expect headline inflation to accelerate due to the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war. In a joint report, the firm said inflation may speed up to 4% this month, but notes that early slowdowns in food prices could cushion future increases. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund says the surge in global shipping costs will likely cause faster inflation in economies like the Philippines that are reliant on imports. Now, BPOs in PEZA locations have just one day left to prepare for their return to a full office setup. What's the situation like in PEZA spaces and what's next for these companies? Let's find out from Charito Plaza, Director General of the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or PEZA. We speak to her straight from Dubai. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning here in Dubai. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you.
Yes, our pleasure, of course, ma'am. Like what we reported earlier, starting tomorrow, BPO firms are required to go back to their offices. What's the situation like in PEZA locations? Are these firms making preparations? Are they ready for tomorrow?
Yes, they are. In fact, we already are issuing letter of authorities to allow these IT-BPO firms registered with PEZA, no? Because there are some who are not registered with PEZA. They are into domestic market. PEZA's registered business enterprises, all of them, no? Not just the IT-BPO, but including the manufacturing sector, the assembly, the medical tourism, the agro-industrial, and all other types of registered business enterprises with PEZA are now have to go back to the regular ratio of 70-30, meaning 70% export and 30% domestic sales. Similarly, we are using that same ratio for the work from home arrangement. 70% should be on site, back on site, and 30% can be work from home.
Okay. Ma'am, nevertheless, we've had on our show the Alliance for Concerned Call Center Workers. We've also had the IT-BPM industry saying, what about if we want higher than this ratio? So not just the 70-30, they've also noted that productivity for some of their workers is higher. Some of their workers have already gone to the provinces. It's expensive for them to have dorms. Are you seeing this concern? Are you discussing this concern that some BPO firms are willing to let go of the tax perks and might be leaving the PEZA zone? Is this a concern for you?
Well, we support 100% that suggestion of a hybrid scheme, meaning a higher ratio for the work from home, because we have proven that despite the pandemic, the work from home arrangement is very productive. No, they continue to be productive, meaning they even increase, no, despite the pandemic, in their export income and in their performance. Yet, the present law provides that only 30% can be work from home or can be domestic market related. No, so what we are suggesting is for the new administration to address, no, and change the ratio, because again, we cannot go beyond what is provided by law. Okay, so ilang araw na lang, no? So how many months to go, and we will have a new administration. So we will be asking the new administration to address this into a law to institutionalize the work from home, because if you can remember, work from home started only when we passed the Telecommuting Act, no? The Telecommuting Act, and not even the Telecommuting Act provided a ratio, no, because it just encourages that we should avail of work schemes that will utilize computer technologies, no. So this law was passed in 2018. So from that time on, PEZA, because we are more of export-oriented industries, so PEZA utilized the telecommuting law by using the regular ratio that is provided of 70-30, and during the pandemic, no, at the start of the pandemic, we increased this as an emergency measure to 90%, no. Hindi pwedeng 100% because the economic zone theory kasi is this is the where the servers, for example, the equipment, the hardware of the IT-BPOs must be located. So hindi pwedeng 100% ang work from home. So what we did is use the 70-30 ratio. And now that the FIRB has declared that we are now in level 1, and that we have to start opening back the economy, so we are ordered by the FIRB to go back 100%. 100% means kung kaya, no, especially the domestic market, no, yung mga domestic enterprises, 100% should go back kasi wala silang economic zone. They are outside economic zones. Pero those registered with PEZA, being inside the economic zone, so work activities should be inside the economic zone to enjoy it. So
Ma'am, can we just clarify po your position? Is PEZA in favor of continuing to provide tax incentives to the IT-BPM industry if they do decide to have a more hybrid form of work wherein more than 30% might be working from home? Are you amenable to this flexibility?
Pwede naman, no? But it's a long process. First, because they are registered with PEZA, they have been enjoying these incentives, no? And our incentives is similar, no? Similar to other countries' incentives, no? So kawawa naman na tanggalin natin yung incentives where when they registered kasi, it's part of the contract. They should enjoy these incentives provided that 70% of their market or their sales will be for export, no. Ngayon, kung ayaw na nilang magiging export driven, all they have to do is to cancel their registration with PEZA, no. So that means pwede na silang pag mag-cancel sila sa amin o di ano sila mag 100% domestic na, wala na silang export, no. So yun, pwede. Kaya lang mahaba ang proseso. Considering that we have a few months to go, we will have a new administration. So we would rather recommend to the next administration, no, to institutionalize the hybrid scheme, institutionalize also the ratio, no. Hindi pwedeng palitan ang ratio. Hindi pwedeng palitan ang ratio kasi may batas.
All right.
Unless we cancel, no, the registration of the registered enterprise.
Yeah, okay. More to that point, ma'am, I mean, we did talk to a number of stakeholders here. You have a group of call center workers saying that there are around 4 to 6 BPO firms that have decided to forego their tax incentives here in order to extend the work from home setup for their companies. Can you verify this for us? Are there BPO firms willing to let go of tax incentives? And is this going to be a concern for PEZA should there be an exit of BPO firms in PEZA locations?
Well, no worries for PEZA as long as whatever is the most comfortable decision of the registered enterprises. We will welcome it, no? Because again, it is their right to repatriate their investment with us, no? Kaya lang yung ang titingnan din natin, yung pag-cancel ba nila sa PEZA because they want to be full or 100% domestic market, or they are going to cancel with PEZA because they're going to transfer to another country. Yun ang delikado, no? Kaya kami, well, for the record, you may ask our registered business enterprises, no? Hindi lang yung mga IT-BPO kasi meron tayong manufacturing, refinery, assembly, agro-industrial, tourism, etc., no, na mga economic zones and industries, no? So if you may ask them, I suppose we are enjoying the trust and confidence of our registered business enterprises. And 80+% of our registered business enterprises are in fact foreign export companies, no, are here who decided to register with PEZA because of the ease of doing business, no, and the incentives that the government through PEZA has provided them, no.
So ma'am,
we
clarify
want
lang
to
namin.
do this.
Yes, ma'am. If we can just clarify again, you have the Alliance of Call Center Workers saying 4 firms decided to let go of tax incentives. Is that true, ma'am?
Come again.
4 BPO firms decided to let go of tax perks. Is there truth to that, ma'am?
Well, we haven't heard so far, no, na merong nag-apply for cancellation or kasi nga may process, there's a process. If they will say they will let go of their incentives, there should be a reason, no. So number one, again, the step is they have to cancel with us, the registered with us. And that reason should be because they want to be 100% domestic sales, no. Hindi na sila mag-e-export, okay? That's what we are really avoiding, na we cannot provide support, assistance, no, especially during these times of the pandemic, the war, etc., no. Cost of living is going up again, prices is going up again, no. We have to be sensitive, no. Tayong nasa gobyerno, kailangan sensitive tayo sa needs ng ating mga tao. Lalo na sa IT-BPO sector, you know, ito yung pinakamalaking employer or job provider among our RBEs, no. Like for example, ngayon meron tayong 1.7 million Filipinos who are directly provided with jobs in our industries and in our ecozones. almost 1 million of this or more, no, are jobs created by the IT-BPOs. No? In fact, we are now the #1 call center of the world. No? And second to us is India. In the BPO sector, however, India is first, Philippines is second. So we have to protect and even make more attractive the IT-BPO sector kasi ito yung talagang maraming employment na na-create.
Ma'am, to that end, last question po before we let you go, because we had the IT-BPM, president here on our show, and he said hindi naman sa ayaw nilang bumalik, 'di ba, sa PEZA zone. It's just a matter of timing. It's biglaan na, well, I mean, we're not yet there. They need the people to come back to Metro Manila, for example. People need to adjust. The public transport is not completely, back to pre-pandemic levels. Is there no possibility to be more flexible in the timing of this and to have it siguro in stages na lang?
Staggered.
Yeah, actually it was PEZA who introduced the 90% work from home, no? 10% lang ang sa on-site, no? This was our one of our major business assistance provided especially to the IT-BPOs, no? And of course all other RBEs registered with PEZA. 90% tayo, umabot tayo sa 90%. At the start of the pandemic. Kami po ang unang gumawa noon, no? And it was proven, no? It was proven how effective the work from home is because itong ating mga registered enterprises, no? Especially IT-BPO, because IT-BPO work kasi we call that borderless, seamless, no? Kasi computer technologies lang eh. No need of a really physical presence in the work site, no. So in fact it was PEZA management and was approved by the PEZA board who requested for an extension, no. Yung hiningi namin extension maski up to September 2022 sa work from home extension, September 2022 because that is the end of the declaration of the state of calamity by President Duterte.
Okay.
Para magkaroon naman ng chance din ang new administration to put things in order, no? So September po ang aming hiningi sana na extension ng work from home up to 90%. However, the FIRB denied our request, no? So it's because nga, like here in Dubai and all other countries, we really wanted to go back to the normal condition. Now that we are in the level 1, hopefully this will continue. And in fairness naman, George, really sa FIRB, nung lumabas kasi yung kanilang denial, that was before the war in Ukraine, tumaas yung ating mga cost of transport. Everything, no? So we could have appealed. However, again, mga informal discussions, FIRB really wants us to go back on site. Kaya ano muna tayo, a little sacrifice na lang kasi hindi naman 100% na hindi pwede ang work from home. No? There is still that 30%. Let's just follow the law because cancellation is more dangerous. No, because hindi naman pwedeng hindi natin ipagpatuloy yung incentives na ini-enjoy ng ating mga registered enterprises in PEZA, no? Alam nyo yung advantages kasi of being registered, enjoying the incentives in PEZA. No, halimbawa yung longer income tax holiday, no? Many of our registered enterprises are still enjoying this income tax holiday, no? Tapos yung kanilang market kasi is global, no? Once they will change to domestic, paano naman yung mga buyers nila, clients nila sa ibang bansa, no? Because they are exporters.
Okay.
And then meron tayong longer tax and duty-free importation incentives. No? So when they buy equipment, when they buy the supplies that they need for their activity, tax duty-free. No?
So much to be lost here.
Yes.
Yes.
And then
Definitely. So,
another incentive ng PESA, yung zero VAT. No? So when they buy local equipment and other supplies, walang VAT ito. And then the brand of service that PESA is giving our IT-BPOs and all the registered enterprises, itong ease of doing business because PESA is a one-stop shop.
right.
Lahat ng mga permits sa amin manggaling para hindi sila malilito sa kukuha ng mga permits sa LGU and other agencies. So we're a one-stop shop. So ito yung pinakamagandang incentive din ng PESA. No? So itong mga incentives
Because
namin
definitely, this is something, of course, that's part of the checklist of the next administration, something that they really have to
comply
attend to.
po muna and then let's see what happens. But as you mentioned,
Right.
PESA supportive of the hybrid work from home setup. Maraming
Yes.
salamat po, DG Ching Plaza, for joining us very early this morning all the way from Dubai.
Thank you. Mabuhay.
Now, coming right up, Bank of Commerce makes its debut on the stock exchange.
We'll check how the stock is performing when Business World Live returns. Stay with us. JG.
You're still watching Business World Live here on One News. I'm Jess De Los Santos.
And I'm Danny Laurel.
All right, Dan, markets opening its arms to a newcomer now in the public arena. How's Bank of Commerce doing in its debut?
The just exciting day today for the banking sector. We have another one to welcome, and that is Bank of Commerce. It is up by 20 centavos. That is 1.7% up to 12 pesos and 20 centavos. Recall that it priced its IPO at 12 pesos a share. However, that was actually a discount to the 12 pesos and 50 centavos it initially wanted to price. And this is, of course, with 280.6 million shares, which this San Miguel unit is doing. Earlier on this morning, the pre-IPO price was at 12 pesos and 20, so really just trading around that range. So congratulations to Bank of Commerce. Very quick peek at the rest of the financial space. Financials are up by 0.3% this morning, led as well by Union Bank, which I just want to mention is also looking at a stock rights offer in April. That's up to 40 billion pesos that they are going to be looking at. So two big banks, enjoying some gains there this morning. Let's take a quick peek at our own local bourse. We're up by 20 points. It's up by 0.3%, closing in on the 7,200 levels. In the past 3 days, we're already up by 0.8%. Even as, of course, there were some disappointing news, which, of course, had rocked the rest of the market sentiment regionally and even globally. This, as Russia had said, that the talks with Ukraine yesterday yielded no breakthroughs. They are still regrouping forces in a push to complete the takeover of the eastern Donbas region. So a lot of back and forth here, and a lot of, investors watching with eagle eyes on how those stocks will develop. But for now, us enjoying gains, at least in the index on the domestic front, Jess.
Here are the other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. Filing of income tax returns is moved to April 18. The BIR explains this is because the annual April 15 deadline falls on Good Friday this year. The Tax Collection Agency also reminded authorized agent banks, or AABs, to extend their banking hours until 5 p.m. from the original cutoff time of 3 p.m. for the April 1 to 18 period. BIR Commissioner Cesar Dulay also asked banks to accept payments on April 2, as 2 Saturdays before the tax deadline were declared as regular holidays.
Now, BSP Governor Ben Diokno says raising the key policy rate to between 2.5 and 2.75% would be reasonable. Diokno said an exit from the pandemic-era accommodative policy stance will be consistent with the nation's growth and inflation targets. He said that the Bangko Sentral plans to start the so-called normalization process in the second half of the year. Still, he did not give specific dates on when the BSP will hike rates, saying they will continue to be data-dependent. But Diokno said a 2.75 key policy rate might be reached by next year.
And that's a first look into the business day this Thursday, March 31, 2022. Join us again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. You can also catch us on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos.
And I'm Danny Laurel. Mask on, wash hands, stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.